Missing someone with all your.
Today I'm going to be telling you all the colleges I got into and all my stats and activities and all the fun college stuff. Maybe this video can help you in any way, and I hope it does. I'm going to start off with all the colleges I applied to on the Common App, and I'm going to tell you if I ED'd, EA'd, or did regular decision, and if I got in or not, or waitlisted, or deferred, or rejected, or all this stuff. So before I get started, I'm going to tell you what my major was. I applied as an exercise science major, a biology major, and 6 or 7 year TPT program if they had it. So the first college was Boston University, and I applied as a 6-year TPT person, and I did not expect to get in at all. Their 6+6 year program is so competitive. And Boston University, I found out the hard way on TikTok, but it's apparently the hardest school to get an A. The next school I applied to was Drexel, and I got in for their 6-year TPT program. The next school was Lehigh, and I got in for biology and for accounting, which honestly was super cool. Lehigh was definitely one of my top schools for business. I think I applied EA, and my application wasn't fulfilled or completed by accident. And then I got moved into regular decision, but I got in for the 6-year or 7-year TPT program there. And that's one thing to remember. Make sure that even after you submit your Common App application, that you go to your portal and you see if all your checklist or all your fulfillments are completed, or else they're not gonna look over your application and you're not gonna get in because they're not gonna look over it. Then the next school is Northeastern. At first I got deferred, which was heartbreaking because I did not think I was gonna get in. But then I got in for regular, which just shows you that if you get deferred at first, it's literally no big deal. It's fine. They defer so much people. Just don't be scared if you get deferred from your dream college or from one of your top colleges. Then the next school I got into was Penn State for exercise science. Then I got into the 6 or 7 year program TPT at Quinnipiac. Then I got into the Sacred Heart TPT program. Next is Syracuse, and for this program, I applied as an exercise major in the fall college. But then I also applied to the SUNY Upstate Medical, which is the medical school line of Syracuse, and I got in to Syracuse and the SUNY DPT school, which means I have the opportunity to spend 3 years at Syracuse and 3 years at SUNY Upstate Medical. Next is the University of Scranton, and I got into the TPT program there. Then finally on my Common App, I got into the University of Delaware for exercise science. And then I applied to 2 other schools that weren't on the Common App, and that was Rutgers and Arcadia University. And Rutgers, I got into the exercise science program. Then Arcadia, I got into the TPT program. Honestly, I wasn't that stressed about college decisions just because you go to Harvard or community college and you could still be rich, successful. And now I'm going to be going on to testing. So for my testing, I got a 1470 on the SAT Super Scored and a 33 on the ACT Super Scored. And this year, I know it's really hard for testing and stuff just because we're all stuck in quarantine. Obviously, you can't just walk out to your local high school and sit down for the SAT. But use your time in quarantine to your advantage. Right now, colleges are making the SAT or ACT optional, but if you get a really good SAT or ACT score, it's going to stand out against your competitors who don't have an SAT or ACT because they didn't take it. Now on to the activities part of my Common App application. First, I put that I did varsity swim team for 4 years, and doing a sport for 4 years or even 3 years just shows really good dedication, and it shows you're well-rounded, and I guess you're athletic, maybe. I also did community service, and I volunteered at a local camp for people with disabilities, and I did about 112 hours there. And for community service, make sure you choose somewhere where you actually love. I loved volunteering at the local charity, and I would go back this summer if we were stuck in quarantine. Then next, I did volunteer or shadow at a local physical therapy clinic, and my biggest tip is to volunteer or do something related to your major. If you're going to be a business major, obviously try to get an internship at maybe an accounting firm or big business or small business. Then I listed that I was a vice president for my GSA, and it just showed that I was woke and I had leadership skills. Then I listed that I was a local lifeguard at my community town pool, and it just gives you work experience to put on your application, and you get money. Then next, I wrote that I did a Boston College summer experience camp for business. And this was originally when I wanted to be a business major for accounting, but now I'm definitely leaning towards more exercise science. Then I also listed that I did a Rutgers physical therapy camp, and this definitely helped me because it was something for my major, and it definitely made me realize that physical therapy was for me. Then I listed 3 activities into one activity box, and I wrote that I was an accounting tutor, a DECA States participant, and the captain of the math league. And this is another tip. If you have so many activities but you only have so few boxes, list summer activities into one. I listed all these 3 activities into one box because they were business math related. For my next column, I listed that I was a RAM member, and RAM is my local school newspaper. I wrote news columns for them. And I also listed that I was an Opus editor, and Opus was a literacy magazine, and I just edited a couple magazines. And then finally, I listed that I was a worker at a local outpatient practice that was called Evergreen Wellness Clinic, and that was just more job experience, and it was also related to my major, which was good for me. And then I'm going to be going on to my honors or awards that I received. So my freshman year, I was a Poetry Out Loud finalist, and if you don't know what Poetry Out Loud is when you have to recite a poem, and if you're I guess good at reciting it, you get to move on to the school competition. So I wrote that I did that. I also wrote that I won the Accounting 2 award sophomore year. And then finally I listed that I was a part of National Honor Society and World Language Honor Society. And you have to be asked to join these organizations or clubs through your GPA. And then finally, the biggest and I guess the most important part everyone's been waiting for, my GPA. So in high school, at the end of my senior year, my GPA was about a 4.2. The biggest tip I have for you is that your senior year, obviously everyone gets senioritis and people stop caring and stop trying, but my biggest tip is to honestly work hard your senior year and take really good classes your senior year. So my senior year, I took AP French, AP English, AP Computer Science Principles, Anatomy, AP Chemistry, and AP Calc. A big tip for senior year is definitely to continue sciences, your math, and your language. I know those are optional, but it definitely just shows colleges you're dedicated, and colleges definitely want to see that you took calculus and all your science, bio, chemistry, and physics. So you'll definitely stand out if you take competitive classes. And another really big tip is definitely work super hard on your supplemental essays, and make sure you don't put the wrong college name if you reuse your supplements. If colleges see that you put UConn for Penn State, and it'll definitely hurt your application, so make sure you put the right college name. That's one of the biggest things. I honestly think that college decisions are fate. Wherever you don't get into is where you aren't meant to be, and wherever you get into, somewhere you'll be good at. And there's always the opportunity to transfer if you don't like your school, so don't stress.